All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Locker Room Sports Talk. I'm your host, Big Matt. This is an extra edition we're going to bring to you through the week as our normal Tuesday and Thursday show. Today, we're going to give a final grade for college football in the season. Got a few guys coming in and signing, visiting and stuff down at Auburn and also down at Tuscaloosa. And we're also going to talk about a format that had been laid out there that was some pretty good matchups. I'd like to go through those with you. And also hot topics from Pete Carroll, what's some thoughts on him, to Schottenheimer, had the Cowboys, a little bit of talk and wrangle about some of that stuff, and Nate Oates and Coach DeBoer, some comparisons and some things that are contrast to the two. What do we like about one, and how could maybe one have handled his situation differently and copied it after the other? I love your comments on that. So, YouTube watchers, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Give us a thumbs up and what you like to hear or what you maybe want to hear more about. Because with college football season ending, this is kind of the rundown to the end of the season. Now I'll probably be on for the week a day or two here or there. Some news, some big things that's maybe some goings-ons and those type things. So glad y'all can come by and make me a part of your day here on January the 28th, 2025. Me and Dean will come on Sunday and we'll talk about the upcoming Super Bowl rematch. We're going to run it back. Eagles and the Chiefs. I hope the Eagles can get it done, and we'll break it down every which way we can and take y'all's words and advice too and tell me what you think about it. So, all right. So like we started here, I hate the way this thing here that wobbles. Okay, it ain't wobbling. So final grade for the year. This was the first year of the 12-team playoff. What do you guys think about it? What's your thoughts on this 12-team playoff has been, there's been some good parts of it. There's also been some parts of it that's not been great. What's up, Jeff? How you doing, sir? We're talking about what are we grading college football, Jeff? What are we doing as far as how it kind of all ended out? I have a grade in mind, and we'll talk about it. First of all, going forward, not this year particularly, we'll go ahead and put a check over here. Final grade for college football. Well, like I said, for future-wise, you're going to get teams that's probably not that you don't think is probably well-deserved getting in this playoff. You're probably not, because, to find 12 teams, guys, you're going to have to take some good with the bad. So with the good teams, you're going to have some to string along somewhere that's not going to be that good. And I think some of the, the Alabama talk and that kind of stuff, them losing 3 games, definitely they couldn't put them in, even with if Saban would have been there, maybe you think they may have got a shot at it. I don't know. What do y'all think? If Saban's coaching Bama and they got 3 losses, they still put them in. But the little perfect storm that we kind of run into was like Indiana and SMU. That's kind of what we run into there. So, and I know the games that they played, and what we're talking about is the final grade for this first year of the 12-team playoff. It's not going to be perfect. And next year we'll have another 12-team playoff, and then that'll be the last year of that, and they're going to do, I heard today, 14, but it's supposed to be going to 16. So, moreover, they're definitely going to have teams that's probably not going to be worthy of being in there when you get 16 teams to try to push into this thing. You're going to wind up with 3 lost teams in there. So, for the people that say 3 lost teams shouldn't get in, that's out. Now, things done differently, as we've talked about, and a lot of people's talked about, we watched over here. Just being a conference champion seems like that. It seems like that wasn't that can't just be the slam dunk criteria that you win your conference, that you're automatically in. Do you want to think that it should be because it gives real meaning to winning your conference? But, there's that 3-loss thing again. So you're going to let in a 3-loss team they won their conference, but they lost 3 games. And the 3 games they lost was to another conference that you wound up kicking 2 of their guys out that beat this team. See what I'm saying? So are you really getting the games that you really want to see? Are, teams that's, quote, deserving? Or have you just decided to just try to make everybody happy? And I don't see probably trying to make everybody happy. I don't see how that, to be prudent, I don't see how that's going to work. So at the end, and we went through the playoffs, note here, most surprised was number 1. Key topic here is final grade for the 12-team playoff. So keynote here, number 1 was most surprising team. Well, I think that's an easy one, man. That's Notre Dame. I mean, are you kidding me? These guys they hadn't been relevant, or they ain't played for nothing in 7-8 years. I mean, it's been a while. And just being pretty relevant in college football just in general, Notre Dame hadn't really been. But now with how college football is, to where the portal has got teams set up now where they can't stack this talent, so therefore it gives the lesser than teams that does have enough money to try to keep up, it helps them in some way to, and when we're talking about the smaller teams, like I always use Louisiana, Raging Cajuns. They're never going. This NIL has not evened the field out to where the little guy gets a shot. It's not. But it's giving teams that are just right outside, always looking in, that's maybe been in the playoffs a little and kind of going to get over the hump. And that Notre Dame fits that criteria. So with them, most surprising team of the year for this 12-team first year, 12-team playoff, it's Notre Dame. I know they didn't win it. I didn't pick them to win it. They did put up a pretty good fight there after halftime, made some adjustments. And their coach Golden, defensive coach there at Notre Dame, he's a good coach, man. He's been around a long time. I remember him being at Miami. I think he done a heck of a job. So Notre Dame is going to be my big surprise team. First off, Jeff, eventually they're going to 16 next, in 27 will be the first year. Yes. And then everything will be equal. Yeah. The tournament has to go through these growing pains, and the same thing happens with the BCS and the college football playoff. Yeah, I don't personally, I don't like the more the merrier. I kind of always, I like the 2. You kind of let people not pick it. You just let kind of the computer pick the best 2 teams, kind of based on schedule and not just from branding, but higher strengths of schedules. And I think this year I know by the first and second round, by those times you would have had, Bama and Georgia had 2 of the harder schedules. So people don't like that, because that's why they're doing this. They got sick of seeing Alabama play for the national championship, so they had to do something. So I don't think it's going to equal it out anymore. I think it's just going to make football more watered down, because you're going to see, again, these teams that don't have the adequate amounts of money to, like Memphis or somebody, for example, Middle Tennessee, those teams, smaller in FCS schools, or, JSU, my alma mater, Jacksonville State. Guys, they, right there where they're at, they're kind of new to the FBS scene, and it's going to be quite a challenge, for them to be able to play with, even some bigger schools like Auburn's and Tuscaloosa, and Alabama's. So I don't think it makes it really any better, but 16-team tournaments for At least 30 years. Yeah, and it's that way because their players, they don't have, all the top players from all around the country. And the Big Brand football of Division I school has such a brand and such amount of highly talented players that are coming out of there, because most all your big time players are coming, out of FCS programs, FBS programs. I mean, now these FCS schools and Division I, II, IIIs, those are all great, and I think they need to have their own tournament because they are never going to get a shot. They can never build up their rapport enough or enrollment enough or ever have enough money to go beat an Ohio State or Michigan or something. Okay? That's just not, it's just never going to happen. It just ain't going to never work that way. So to be more fair, if you want to be more equal, I say let those guys have their own championship. That's what I would like to see. So most surprising team, talking about final grade for this, and we'll say the second team here would be the team that I was most surprised by Notre Dame making the championship game. Honestly, I was. Now, what team was I most surprised at by from the other end of the spectrum, thinking, gosh, they're probably going to win this thing too. They couldn't even win their conference. I was a little surprised by Texas, and probably a lot surprised by Georgia. And I know they didn't have their quarterback, and I think Stockton's good. I think he's going to do fine. But I think Georgia, so I'd probably say the team I was most surprised on the opposite ends of that would be that trended down would be Georgia. I mean, look, man, Notre Dame's trending up, and Notre Dame took care of business. We all watched the game, and we all felt like Georgia had a chance to win the game in several different occasions and parts of the game, but Notre Dame looked ready. Stockton had a good plan, and he's going to be fine there. But Georgia's definitely, they're going to have to add. They're going to have to add some stuff. They're going to have to add some stuff. Hang on just a second here. Okay. Okay, so Georgia, they're going to have to add some players because they're kind of the thumbs down for me for the year, and Notre Dame was kind of the thumbs up. And I mean, it's easy to pick Georgia as the thumbs down. I mean, they've won 2 in a row, and Kirby's supposed to be the new Nick Saban, and it's easy to pick them. It is, but that's just my pick, and they're supposed to be representing the best conference in the land. So that's the team for me. So championship game wise, none of us were surprised, I don't think, by the score. I almost picked the score right on. I was really close to the score. I think I had 34-16, 34-20, or something like that. 36-16. Yes, I like Ohio State by at least 2 or 3 touchdowns. And as far as yardage wise, that type of stuff, the main thing is always going to be who runs the ball the best. And obviously, Notre Dame rushes the ball for about 50 yards, and Ohio State rushes it for they go over 200. And shout out to Junkins, played down here at Pike Road. We wound up rushing for 100 yards in the national championship game. Watched him play at Pike Road in his state championship game down there at UAB, at Protective Life Stadium down here in Birmingham. He had 2 touchdowns on the day. Howard did enough, man. 17 for 21. At one time in the game, he was like 11 for 11 or something. He was just money. He looked great. He's the kind of guy that you just need to go not try to win the game. Just kind of get first downs and do the right thing. Over 230 yards for the day. And, Riley Leonard, right down here from South Alabama. Right down here from around Birmingham area, Gordo area. So we're pulling for him, local guy. 255 yards in the national championship game. Can't complain. 22 for 31. Had 2 touchdowns. He didn't turn the ball over. And he even wound up leading the team, for rushing. They just could not get Price or Love going. That was really the difference in the game. And defense wins championships. And, that's just kind of how the cookie crumbles. So as far as final grade, altogether, that's a national championship game, and it's been talked about too much. You're not going to want to sit here for 10 minutes to hear me break down the national championship game because you've probably already heard it at least 3 different times. And we missed that ball last week because I was sick. I've been moving. I just couldn't. And sorry. I wanted to write something about it, and I thought about doing that, and that's about terrible. I've just been sick with flu and on and fever on and off for days. And so, first year 12-team playoff, most surprising team Notre Dame. Most surprising team what? What happened? Texas a little bit, but I mean they made 2 Final Four appearances. See how this Manning quarterback deal is going to work out. I'm not going to be surprised if he don't really pan out. Y'all can say what you want, but Georgia's the one that was very surprising to me that they just couldn't get it done. They got to have some players, man. Georgia's got to get a run game. Their defense is always going to be okay. They just got to get some guys. Jeff says remember all the bye teams lost. Yeah, Junkies had 3 touchdowns in the championship game. Let's see here. Did he catch 1 too or something? Because they don't have him for. They only have him for 2. Okay, caught 1 too. He had a 20-yard catch. Good catch, Jeff. Yeah, does that really mean anything? Jeff brought up the point that all the bye week teams lost. What about that? I don't weigh much into that personally. I don't. I think that's just kind of what happened this year. Yeah, he had 1 receiving and 2 rushing, Jeff. Yeah, he had one catch for 20 yards receiving touchdown, then he run 2 in. He didn't run them in too far because Henderson he's great. He's really good. I don't weigh much into that bye week. I think that's just kind of how it went this year. I think that's just kind of how, coincidentally, it just kind of went that way this year. So, final grade for me. This is the first year 12-team playoff. 27 will start the 16-team. I give it a B+. And it could have been probably a B-, I guess, because by no control of their own, really, which was controlled all by their own, the teams that didn't get in, South Carolina and Ole Miss and then, they don't play good. SC and Bama don't play good in their bowl game. And that just gives more fodder to these, jackwagons that say that I told you they didn't belong. They didn't never should have been in there no way. Been in the playoffs, and just South Carolina and Bama as a bunch of boobs. You never know how these young guys are going to react in these games. And you can say whatever you want to and whatever makes you feel good about your team because you're being a fan of your team, and that's fine. But honestly, we all know that some of these guys didn't want to. They played the bowl game and tried to do the honorable thing and come back and play for their university that's given so much for them. And some of them probably packed it in by halftime. And that's not an excuse. That's just reality. When people say the word you're giving an excuse, actually you're making an excuse to make yourself sound like, well, you're right. And that's, I'm just saying that anybody could agree that it's a high chance that kids will play down in a game that it's not a playoff game. And that makes more sense, common sense wise, than it would to say, I think the kids probably played better in their bowl game knowing that they're not going to a playoff. No, that's stupid. Shut up. Why would anybody say that? So don't use the word excuses. Those are just excuses. South Carolina didn't show up because they shouldn't have been in the playoffs or nothing. They couldn't have a chance to beat. Yes, they could have played any of those teams because they would have been more excited to know that they have an opportunity to maybe play for something instead of just, the Orange Bowl and you get a sack of oranges and an iPad or something. And that's just how it is. So that kind of downgrades the playoff for me. But, like I said, it's no fault of the playoffs, because the committee really, because their hands kind of got tied. South Carolina shouldn't have lost to Bama. And Bama shouldn't have lost to Vanderbilt or Oklahoma. Tennessee, sometimes you hit or miss, and it's hard to win up there. You're not going to get a lot of good calls. But, those are games that South Carolina needs to beat Alabama. They had opportunities in the game to do it. They just couldn't finish the game. So that puts me at a B plus, or, just a B for me for the first year 12-team playoff. Guys, if you like this, hit the old blue thumbs up there on Facebook. We do appreciate you. If you're watching over here on YouTube here later in the night, here on Tuesday night, regular show, Thursday night, find some more news, come on here and talk about that a little bit. Subscribe to the channel. Tell a friend. Share it over to your page on your Facebook page from YouTube or something. Hit the comments down there on YouTube and just say, hey, this is terrible. I hate you. You're an idiot, or, whatever. I can take it all. Trust me, I wore glasses since the 80s, and my skin is thick. It don't bother me. So, next topic at hand. Jeff, your defensive coordinator, Knowles, he decided he's just going to go be defensive coordinator for Coach Franklin. Before his deal went through, it looked like that Blake Baker, the defensive coach at LSU, was the highest paid guy with about $2.5 million. Seems like we're seeing assistants make a little more money now because this NIL stuff and the way they're spending money to keep their players at some teams. So assistants are making a little more. So they don't feel like I'm making the same pay as a darn safety over here. Looks like he's going to be reaching out here to the pot and the sum of $3.1 million to make Coach Knowles leaving Ohio State defensive coach and going to Penn State. But it says they have some bonuses lined up in here for like $750,000 to $1 million. He could, probably make $4 million a year easily. They're going to kind of base this on his Big Ten championship appearances and, getting those type situations and incentives. If your defense maybe is ranked in the top 10 or something, he gets a little bump for that. So, yeah. Here's the thing, and we'll touch on this for a minute, Jeff. Jeff says be watching out for Penn State. Here's the thing. And, they should have beat Notre Dame. They flat out just give the game away. They give it away, and I've talked about it on the spot I did, and me and Dean talked about it on a Sunday. Why are we throwing the ball? God, that's why. Those type plays, man, it just seems like Franklin just he can't learn from some of these situations, man, that from some situations of he puts himself in these bad spots, and then you come out and why is he throwing the ball down there? It was like 1st and 10. All he had to do is go down and could tie the game or something. And he just those type of things worry me, Jeff. To say Jeff's saying, well, watch out for Penn State, over the next couple of years. Yeah, but is Coach Franklin, but their defensive coach anyway is heading out the door. Now, here's something I had brought up. This new playoff model, there's a few different versions, and I just wrote this down because it gives some different matchups, for some different teams, and I thought this kind of interesting and would like to share with you guys. The new auto bid style playoff model, if it would have been the 4-4-2-2-2 style this year, Big Ten and SEC get 4 auto bid teams apiece. Now, we could have seen. Now, you're going to have this 1 through 4, of course, they're going to be bye or something or whatever. So it looked like we were could have had Georgia plays Oregon, Texas would have played Iowa State, Penn State would have played Clemson, Notre Dame would have played Arizona State, Ohio State would have played Alabama, Tennessee would have played SMU, and Indiana would have played Boise State. What do you think about that one? Yeah, they're not. Jeff said, talking about the Penn State's offensive coach. They've just done good with what they've had. And, look at Singleton. He's ripping, with the Eagles right now. But you don't have a guy like that. I knew he was going to be great. When I remember seeing him play there at Penn State, he's great. But you just have to play, Jeff, with what you have. Everybody don't have the luxuries of the Ohio States or the Bamas or the Texas to have a quarterback that can pretty much get it done. They don't have to be excellent, but they got some good receivers, and their offensive line usually plays well. Everybody don't have that benefit. So, yeah, if you change it, offensive coaches, and you're changing the style of football Penn State's going to play. But see, they played in those hash, and I had said in the pregame, if they'll bend those out a little bit and let that tight end, Big 44, catch some of those outside there and change the game, and it did, and it worked, and they did it a few times, and he gets hit, falls backwards, thumps his head, he's done. It changed the game. They just really had nobody to really throw the ball to anymore, just their tight end, just the other tight end. So, but here's some of the matchups. And I like this here. Week 1, Tennessee, SMU, Indiana, Boise State. I like that. Those sound like pretty good games, and you kind of feel like Boise State wins that one, and SMU may give Tennessee a good game. I guess if they played it, it depends on maybe where it is, who's the home. I enjoy I think that would have been a good game. Ohio State, Alabama, first round. Now, we know that Ohio State went out winning it. We picked them to win it, and Alabama didn't even get to go in. Everybody healthy, all the linebackers, everybody in there playing and hanging on. I think they could have played them a good game. Bama would have had to get hot and hit on a couple of big plays, and then hope that Ohio State turns the ball over. But with those two running backs and their D-backs at Bama they're not mature enough. They started starting 4 freshmen in the bowl game. Those 4, you never even started a game in college till Michigan. So, but if everybody would have been healthy, if Campbell's there and Lawson plays and Sabb and Moore, and I'm not pondering on the score like Alabama would beat them. I'm just pondering on the game itself, Ohio State, Bama. Say if Ohio State, Bama would have had to go up there, and a lot of players from Bama, or a lot of their guys are from either here or from California or Texas. Some of the linemen are from up north. that would have been as good a game as, I guess. I think they'd have fought them better than Notre Dame. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I think they would have played them just as good. They'd have played them just as good as Notre Dame, right? So, that one would have been a good game there. Notre Dame would have got Arizona State. I would have went with Notre Dame in that game, probably even then. But you got to remember, guys, these are about matchups. And looking back, hindsight's always 20/20. But you have to think about the time and when these games were played. And that game would have been out there. That game would have been out in the game would have been in Arizona State. I definitely would have enjoyed that game. I think Arizona State may have played them pretty well, I guess. Penn State and Clemson. Now, I guess it definitely would have been at Penn State because they were ranked higher. So that would have been the home team. Styles, man. Styles make matchups. Matchups make good games. Good matchups. I don't know if Clemson could. Would there have been any chance they could have? Is there any chance? Nah. Penn State there too. Texas and Iowa State. Give me Texas. But Georgia and Oregon, man, that may be one of the better matchups of this whole little group there. Georgia and Oregon. Everybody healthy. Shoot, man, I don't. Head coach versus, your ex-old coach. Lanning helped Kirby out there at Georgia. So I can dig it. There's a few good games on here. So that could have been one of this auto bid and how things may go in the future. We may see something like that. So just keep that in mind. Now, I got just a few more hot topics here, and we're going to get off. Hot topic here, Pete Carroll hired out to the Raiders. He had 8 seasons where he won 10 games or more. He had the best seasons for 10 times, postseasons. He had been to the postseason 10 times. 2 NFC championships, and, of course, the Super Bowl. 137 and 89 and 1 for his record. What do we think about Pete Carroll to the Raiders? This is what I always wonder when I see these guys. When I see these older guys come back in, we're going to talk about Oates and DeBoer, and we got a few players Auburn and Alabama's got coming in. What I worry about some of these older guys is, has time passed them by? Has time passed them by a little bit? I mean, there's just the way you do things. It does not. There's some things that are always going to translate to football, but man, some things just don't. And unfortunately, the way people are and the way things are now, it's just hard to get guys to sell out and be real team players. And it's always kind of been that way in the NFL, but more now. They were talking about some guys that's been on the injured reserve, and they're not even seeing some of the right doctors. Some of these players are not getting to have the right care because of their attitude. And I'm saying that to make the point, Pete Carroll being hired at the Raiders, those kind of attitudes, yes, it has been a part of when Pete coached, and he's a great college coach. But how's that going? How's that going to translate? How's that going to work for these new guys? I just think it's going to be a tough road. And you're talking about kind of a new team, and you're kind of just don't. You can't expect it to just to be some kind of Superman style thing like Pete Carroll's just going to come in and just do Pete Carroll stuff, and he's just going to get these freaking Raiders ready to rock and roll and go to a Super Bowl or something. So I'm just saying, if he wins, I don't know, 7, 8 games, his first year, I guess. It's always about the quarterback. Like I said, who they're going to probably try to pick up. Speaking of the draft, I have seen Shador at 1, Cam at 2 or 3, and then Milroe at 4 or 5, something like that. I did see some footage today of Milroe throwing the ball at a practice, some type of OTA type thing. I don't know. Didn't look real good. Just really wasn't getting the ball to the guy. If you've seen the clips that I saw, he's underthrowing the ball to people, just not reading the defenders, not reading them right, Poor guy, such a nice guy. You ever had that guy you went to class with? He's just darn nice guy. You just hate when people pick on him and stuff, and you just wish people would kind of leave him alone. But he can't hit what he is. He's just not a pocket quarterback. But he's got to be able to make those small throws to even make any kind of money. I don't know. But Pete Carroll to the Raiders. We'll see what kind of grade would you give that. It's got to be he's a good coach, man. I mean, Pete's been around forever. I think it seems like from what I've heard and watched biographies on Pete Carroll and USC, and I probably watched more pro ball then when he was at Seattle than I do now. I don't watch a lot of pro football now. Kind of too much of the complaining and griping and whimpering about stuff, and I'm not treated the same, and it's not equal. Yeah, it says, you're a multimillionaire and you drive $1 million cars, and you're talking about, equality of, you have all the same rights that everybody else does. It's a great country. Are we perfect? No, but it's way better here than anywhere else. You couldn't go live anywhere else and drive $1 million car and make $100 million a year and have everything at your fingertips. So kind of that gripey, whiny, just kind of turned me off. I'm Gen X, and just not my thing. And I don't have to watch it. It's a free country. And if you do, that's fine, bro. Rock it out. I like talking football with you about it. And I watch a little, but when Pete was at Seattle, I watched it more. That's my only point. Now, here's what's interesting, me talking about the whiny and gripey and this style, man, these old guys try to get back in it, and you just kind of feel like time's passed them by. Well, Pete says he's got 3. 1, 2, 3. This is his mission statement here for the Raiders. He says, and you can go look this up. It's a paragraph long maybe for each one, but I'm just giving you the topic for each. 3 main things. Protect the team. This is Pete Carroll's mission statement for the Raiders. Protect the team. No whining. And be early. And you can kind of figure out by each of those 3. Protect the team is you always put the team first. Put them number 1. It takes more than just one guy to win the game. It takes all of us, and when we can all get moving in the same direction, that's where success comes from. Siski, my brother down here from Donahoe area, was A.J. McCarron's QB coach at Bama. If you know Taylor Siski's from around here in the area, great guy, fun to hear talk. He cusses a little bit much, but, I like the guy. We agree on probably about 99% of stuff. We're just that age group. We're a few months apart, and we just see it this way, that being able to take those men and get 85 assholes and pull them all in the same direction. That's what made Nick Saban the greatest ever. And that's what Pete's talking about, protecting the team. 2, no whining. I think that's pretty explanatory. That's the kind of stuff I just said. Yeah, Coach, I got pulled over before coming to practice, and I got a ticket, and that's why I'm late for practice. Okay, why'd you get pulled over? Well, they said I was speeding. Well, you're speeding. Well, but that's your fault. Don't blame somebody else because you got a ticket for speeding. You got the ticket. You're late to practice because you made a choice. Stop whining and stop grumbling about it. Just get here on time. Leave earlier so you don't have to speed here. What are you, 16? God dang, man, we're grown men. That's the kind of stuff he's going to be, and I don't. Is that going to work? You know, how's those Tyreek Hill guys? How are they going to take that? Now, the next point right there, I just said, be early. Don't come to practice late. Don't come to your position group meetings late. Get here on time. If you're 5 minutes early, you're late. That's the way I was taught. So these are things that Pete Carroll, new coach at the Raiders, he's wanting to implement for the team. And they're all great. But can he get them all to do it? We will just have to see. So Schottenheimer, head coach at the Cowboys, they're going to be looking for a defensive coach. And there's some names swirling around out there talking about Dallas Cowboys. Now, it said that Schottenheimer is just nothing but a Grangley assistant. And he was just a hire so Jerry can have another person just to push around. That's the word on the street. I don't know that. I do know that I think time has passed Jerry Jones by. Years and years ago, Jerry Jones, and it's kind of, you can't just say, well, just put your money in the pot and pass it around there, Jerry. You're the owner. Just give me the money. You don't get any input. Well, that's what all the other owners do, man. Jerry's had his finger on this for so long, man. It's just, I think it's hurt the team. Overall, in general, I just do. I just think it's hurt the team overall in general. I just do. He went on the radio and said something just so foul and cussing this guy out and, you know, pretty much told him if you don't ask the questions I tell you to ask, by God, I'll fire you. What? What a prick. Just that kind of stuff. I'm not a big fan of his. Guys, have they even played for like the NFC or they didn't even play for their conference championship, NFC, AFC title games, and like 20-something years. It's time to do something different. Whatever you're doing, Jerry's not working. And obviously hiring this guy, I think he'll probably be okay. He's always been a good assistant. And everybody just keeps saying, well, he's a good assistant. He's just an assistant. He just was. All the head coaches were assistants one time. Every head coach was an assistant sometime. Somewhere, somebody give him a break. Give him a shot. So that's what Jerry done. He's going to give Schottenheimer a chance at Dallas. We'll see how it kind of turns out. And they're still looking for a defensive coach. Who they get, I don't know. Now, last thing here, college stuff. Oh, yeah, we got about 5 minutes. We're going to get this. 8 minutes. Watch this. Travis Hunter teased a possible MLB career. Travis Hunter played, I didn't know he played baseball. I've never seen Travis or ever heard any rumors of him playing baseball or never seen him in pictures with a glove when he played high school ball over here around the Atlanta area. He did play some basketball, and I have seen Travis Hunter play basketball, and he's good. He's an athlete, man. He can play. About baseball, I've never heard anything about him playing baseball. All right, now, last point here, and then we're going to talk about these two players and jump out. Nate Oates, Alabama basketball. I put the AP poll up. Auburn still won. Played a good game in Tennessee the other night. Enjoyed seeing them. And then Bama plays LSU. It's good to see Bama play without Sears to see if they can do it. You know, like, could they really, you know, make a run? And you know, if he don't play, can they win? You know, because he's the leading scorer. Okay. Mark Sears. Well, they wound up playing good in the game, and we wound up finding out that no Holiday boy is a good ball player. But I think what we mostly found out about, sorry guys, I can't help it. My nose just runs, and it's just how it is. And I'm sorry. I can't. I do cut the mic off and try to blow. But him not playing the game, I think it kind of give Bama a little bit of a opportunity to see where they are without him. Like I said, the Holiday kid did step up and play good, and Bama's they're a top 8 or so team. I don't like how they play all the time, and what we have to talk about here is Coach Oates pulling his starter out, pulling his main guy off the team. So we're comparing Coach Oates and Coach DeBoer, how they handle these situations in, tough games, man. You're going to go out there and pull your starter off the field when they're not performing. He didn't perform. He couldn't score. And I know in a lot of the situations, he was getting hacked, and he was getting he couldn't score in a lot of these situations. They was knocking his head off sometimes, and they were just not going to call it. Well, Coach seen it. They're not going to call some of these fouls on him. And before they took him out, I thought, man, he's going to get hurt. Mark Sears is going to get hurt. But what do you guys think about them pulling him? And his mom come on Facebook, made a big spiel, and everybody's all down in their drawers about his mom and his mom this and his mom. And guys, this is his mother. If your parents don't take up for you in this world, who is? She's supposed to take up for her son. Now she come back and kind of apologized some and said, yeah, I may have got a little hasty, but we're team players. We understand the whole picture from the macro level. But I was a mom and I was pissed, and this from the micro level, I was just bothered that he didn't let him get back in the game and get us some rhythm back. It hurts the confidence, and you want to keep kids have some kind of rhythm to keep their confidence going. But at some points too, man, I've done it on a way younger level. But at some points you just have to take them out and go, you're just not. I've had to take pictures off the mound and go, today's just not your day. But tomorrow may be. It's not a big deal. I love you, and man, we're going to practice, and we're going to keep working at it. And we need you to come out here and bat next inning, and we're going to tear it up, okay? We're going to go out here and have a good time. We're going to win this game. And you're part of the team. But right now, what's best for the team, I got to put this other kid on the bump here. And, obviously Sears had trouble with that. He could have done a lot of things. So let's look at it from that side, and then we'll move to the other point of this. A lot of kids, well, we've seen what a kid at Auburn got into it with Pearl. He had to take him off the floor. He had to see him in the locker room. Sears could have pitched a fit. He could have picked the chair up, kicked it, throwed the chair out on the. He could have just took a towel and hung over his head and sat over there on the sideline, just with a towel draped over his head. Just, oh, poor me. Make a mistake and be like Milrow. Just go over there on the side and throw interception. He just walks way down at the end all by himself and just sits there. And just, well, I just messed it up. And that's how, he was upset, and that means he cares. And we found out for Monday practice, he had the best practice he's had all year, because that's what dogs do. You put them back on a chain when they run the road and they get in trouble, but when you let them loose, man, they still going to go eat. And that's what he's doing. He didn't show out at the game. He wasn't emotional. But he got up with his team on timeouts and had his arm around their necks. Was right there with the coach, listening to plays, talking to some of his guys. He didn't show out and say nothing. I thought it was fine. You got to be coachable. And in a week or two ago, I've seen an Auburn game. Coach Pearl was getting on a kid, and you could tell the kid wasn't liking what he was saying. But he got him another drink out of that little Gatorade cup, and he was just being coachable. And you could tell he didn't like it. I could tell the look on his face. He wasn't liking what he was hearing. Because Pearl's a real loud, in-your-face. He screams all night long. He could scream about, this is the best mother effing weather I've ever effing seen in my effing life. You know, and he's just screaming, and he's red. That's just his style. Not knocking him. You know, I'm not knocking it. But that's just how he does, and that's just... But the kid was being coached, and he took his medicine, went out and got better. So, parents, let this be a thing for y'all. I mean, let your kids be coached. You can't pet them forever. And there's a difference in, you know, verbally abusing a kid to where you're literally calling them out and saying things like, you're stupid, you're dumb, why can't you understand this plays it because you're too, you're just too ignorant, you don't get it. I've never done nothing like that. Never. Go ask any kids that are from ages of 19 to 24, 25-year-olds. I've never done that to none of the kids. That's how they are now. I got on their butts and I would holler at them and say, quit being stupid. Quit acting stupid. But I love kids, and you never insult a kid. And Oates did a good job of just pulling Sears out of the game and taking control of his team. It's his team. So, in many cases, we've seen Milroe play bad. Y'all think about this and do your homework. Hit the comments later on this when you're watching this back here on YouTube. What do? Should the board pull Milroe in the Oklahoma game? Yep. I thought so. Now, the Vanderbilt, they played okay. The defense just went to sleep. Defensive line was just getting their tails whooped. Linebackers was on the wrong sides. They were keying wrong half the time. Malachi was not. They just wasn't there that day. They had a bad day. But the Oklahoma game and the Michigan game, for sure, Michigan game, Milroe's out at half. He's out. Thank you for your service. We love you here, bro. Milroe was a big, toothy grin part of that program that kept a lot of guys there probably that could have jumped ship. But at some point, I got to start building for us. You're the head coach there, DeBoer. You're the head guy. You have got to be able to pull that string. Yank. Kalen, you're done. You're done, Jalen. You're done. Hey, Ben, what's up, buddy? Yeah, we'll talk about that. So the difference there, Coach Oates took control of his team, and I think, but it's not his first year. So that's where we need to get. We got to draw that line. Let's just put the pin out there and draw the line there. This is Kalen DeBoer's first year. He didn't want to lose the team because he wants a lot of these guys. They got 9 guys coming back on defense. But the way some of the players looked in the Michigan game, like Ryan and even Burton and even Macumba or Mbakwa, say it however you want to, because he let him play a little receiver. The look on their faces when Jalen was throwing them the ball was like, hello, I'm right here. Here. This is me, here. Not way up here. Or he threw the ball out of bounds to Bach one time. Way out of... Jalen shouldn't have finished the Michigan game. He would not for me. And if I'd lost some of the team, and I don't know, I guess I don't know. I'm trying to build, and he's not part of the future. he refused or he could not. One of the two. He would never check the line. He wouldn't check in and out. He's not reading the defense and checking in and out of situations. Either he couldn't or he didn't want to. But why would you not want to if you knew how? See what I'm saying? So you can't really say, well, DeBoer, I hope you, by God, you need to button down like Oaks has. Dang it, fix that, Roll Tide. It's DeBoer's first year. There had to be some things that he was going to have to let go a little bit. Some things to be able to keep the team. Okay? But I don't have a problem with what Oaks did. Milroe based on his bowl performance. Yeah, well, they've got him picked going like 4th overall, right behind Shador and Cam Ward. I don't see it neither. Yeah, I don't. I told you I seen his practice day. He had some kind of OTA or something. Talking about Milroe, and he just didn't. He did not look real good. Now, so that's that. Schottenheimer, the Cowboys. Ben says that they have announced Chicago Bears coach Matt Eberflus, Eberflus. That's their new defensive coordinator of the Cowboys. So Coach Matt from the Bears will be taking over as the DC. We were just talking about that. Schottenheimer and Dallas, they are needing a defense coordinator. There you go. Can Schottenheimer get it done there? I don't think anybody can get it done. Jerry's in the way, and he can say what he wants to. I don't care what. He's in the way, man. He can't. He's just got too much. He's got too much say. He just does. So next point there, we covered Oates and DeBoer, compared, contrast. Yes, I liked how Oates handled that situation with Sears and taking him out. He wouldn't get it done, man. We're trying to win the game. I'm not trying to be your friend for the rest of your life. Your job is to come here and win games, and also now to create a value for yourself. And you're not creating a value with 0 points. And I'm not winning. I don't win games. I'm going down the road somewhere. Yeah, me and you can be friends somewhere down the line with something else. Right now, we're trying to win, and you're not helping me do that. And DeBoer could have set Milroe in the Michigan. For sure, he could have set him in the ball game. He could at halftime said, "Hey, we're just gonna go with Ty. Try to get shoot in some things for next year. Get ready for that. Moving on. Love you, buddy. Anything I can do for you, will be cheering you on." So that's kind of how he handled it. Now, lastly, we have some new guys on campus. This come from Coach Gillespie, the running back coach at Alabama. As of last week's practice, they had some of the young guys. I've seen some of them doing videos, and Luke Metz and some of the new guys. Keelan Russell, quarterback at Bama, from Dade, Duncanville. And this kid, Akelin Deer, number 4-star guy, number 2 back in the nation, number 1 in Mississippi, said he was super at practice, and he seems to be more advanced than you would think a kid right out of high school would be. Coach Gillespie said he had a great practice. Auburn in Florida was after this kid from Phoenix City, offensive lineman Mal Waldrop. He was 35th offensive lineman in the nation, right out of Phoenix City down here. Offensive lineman, Bama picks him up. He was there. I think he's coming on in early. Marshall Pritchett, a guy that plays over high school over in Georgia. Tight end, 6'5", 211 pounds. Another good-looking young guy that came in, I think last week. So Alabama adding a tight end and an offensive lineman. Still building that offensive line group up to replace two guys that are going to be losing Booker and then right tackle Pritchett, which Pritchett was terrible. His PFF grades speak for themselves. I don't have to tell anybody anything of that. Now, Omar Madsen, 3-star kid out of Auburn High School, 5'9", 210 pounds, 2,700 yards rushing, 45 touchdowns, 280 receiving, and 3 catching. Auburn having their junior day. Now, this guy's going to come on and graduate this coming year. Kind of a late addition, adding another tailback to the room, so that's going to give them 4. I think Alston will be their starter. I think Cobb was leaving. He was in the portal. I think he stayed, pretty sure. And then Alvin Henderson probably their 3rd guy. And then the Durrell kid from UConn. They get a kid from up there. And now this guy. So that's going to give them like 5 running backs. I don't know. Not sure what Freeze is doing there with 5 tailbacks. Then the others are like, 3-star guys. They got pretty good size on them. I think it's Durrell kid. He looked pretty good. I mean, size-wise, they're just not on big teams. And Omar, of course, he's come out of high school. But this is what, and people on Facebook tell me, please, I have a lot of guys from South Alabama that keep up high school football. The tailback there from Auburn High, how's he got 2,700, almost 3,000, might as well say 3,000 all-purpose yards, just 2 years, played football. 5'9", 210. Why is he only a 3-star? And from what I read, they just gave him the 3rd one here at Christmas or something. How? What? Does he just not get to go to camps because he just hadn't been able to, and whatever situations things happen? I'm just a little confused by that. But those kind of get stats and numbers. You figured he'd be you figured he'd be a 4-star guy. So, junior day there for Auburn, and tailback kid out of Auburn High School is going to go there and play locally there, close to home for him. So good luck to them. And Ackland Deer, tailback, 4-star, number 2 running back in the nation, come out of Mississippi, having a good practice week this week, says Coach Gillespie. So that's that. That's a wrap. And we'll probably be back Thursday for some more news, some college football news, and see what's going on around the way next few days. Me and Dean will come on Sunday and break down some Super Bowl. Talk about that. Eagles and the Chiefs. So we appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for coming by and hanging out with me. Y'all enjoy the rest of your evening. God bless you, and we'll see you guys soon. Thank you. YouTube watchers, we do appreciate y'all as well.